Thank you for joining us at the Reader's Choice. My name is Tina Presley, and we are here to talk about your book called
I Am Because He Is.
You're right, here it is. For those of you who don't know, now you know. Zavonda Vinson has a book out titled I Am Because He Is. You can see the props in the background. This is so cool. I would buy the book just for the cover, the color scheme. How you coordinated it with your outfit. Girl, you got some style. Look at that. Who helped you? Where'd you come up with this idea?
Well, actually, I did and I didn't. You know, I mean, God pretty much laid this whole foundation out for me. I already had the pictures, and it's like, you know, I presented the picture to one of my designers, and he came up with the perfect background to it all. Now, as far as with the book, you know, I didn't have a clue that that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, is writing a book. You know, God gave me this like 2 years ago, maybe, to write a book. And I'm like, write a book. You know, I don't even like to read, so write a book, that's past me. I'm not writing no book because I don't even like to read them. But now we're here. So
I can relate with that. I like to read until I realized that you needed to read in order to be able to have intelligent conversations with people, because you won't have language if you don't learn how to process conversations. And so I'm so glad that you were able to articulate what God gave you on paper. That's major. Thank you for doing that.
Yes. You know, yes. It's like I wrote the book for a person like me to read it. So it's like I put, you know, for what I wanted to see and what I wanted to read in a book, I actually wrote it. You know what I'm saying? What I expected. So it took me a long time to get to that point. Like I say, God gave me a vision to write a book 2 years ago, but I hadn't even came clean, you know, of the things that he, you know, had me to write in the book. I was still processing the healing part of it, but yeah, years. I could say years. I'm 41 years old now, and it's stuff in that book that happened when I was, you talking 12, 13. So yeah, years to get up to that point.
You know, it takes sometimes to gather your mind in a place of peace where you listen to the Holy Spirit. And it seems like what occurred, which is how you were able to birth out this book. I love the language style. I love the fact that you wrote in a tone and in a language that you use. You know, this is who you are. So many struggle with what you were able to be delivered from, which was operating with a mask on, being fake. And I believe the Lord set you free so that you could tell a story that so many other people have lived. Chapter 1 is titled Growing Up. Tell us about why you started there.
Well, actually, I had to take it back to that part. Like, you know, in seeking and serving God, he showed me that I tried to start in the middle of my life. Like I started in the middle to proceed forward. But the more I seek, the more he took me back. It's like, you know, you got to go deeper. And I'm like, I mean, this is what I know. This is what I remember. But I had hidden so much of me growing up. And I didn't even really think it really even mattered. But he showed me that I had to take it all the way back to, you know, my childhood, because that's really where it starts. You know, everything starts, you know, growing up, you know, as a kid. So yeah, growing up for me, you know, without trying to tell the book, growing up for me, I had a good life. Like I had a good life, you know, as a actual child. You know, I could do what I want. You know, I stayed with my grandma, which is my father's mother. And like I said, I didn't have the chores that kids had. I go to sleep when I wanna, I eat what I wanna, I grocery shop when I wanna. I had everything a child could want, but I was with my grandmother. You see what I'm saying? Like I was with my grandmother. I love my father, I love my mother, but I was with my grandmother growing up. And you know, that's why I had to take it back, because that's where it all started for me.
Yes.
You know, I knew what I was out there doing. I knew exactly what I was doing. Exactly what I was doing. But it's like, I'm not pregnant. Like, it's nothing growing inside of me. Like, I was a child. Like, you know, you talking 14, going on 15 years old. And it's like, my body feel a certain type of way, but I'm still trying to maintain
wow.
I'm a tomboy. So ain't nothing growing inside of me. I wear the big clothes. This is how my mind was talking to. I mean, I was talking to myself like, ain't nothing growing in me. You know, I'm seeing my stomach is like doing something weird, but no, I couldn't process that thing at all. And I tried to be as normal as I could at that age. But my mom and my sister used to come around and they just used to stare at me. It's like, my sister always wanted me in trouble. You couldn't tell me nothing because I was a good child. So anything she thought could bring on some drama, she was going to do it. So she paid attention to me and she figured it out first. And she told on me. So wow. I said, no, well, I got to tell something, you know, I got to tell.
I started going to parties, smoking weed and drinking. What were you trying to cover up?
Actually, that I had failed. Like, I felt, even though, and it's so funny how I developed, because it's like, how did I develop a way to hide so well? I'm still trying to figure that out, because I knew how to hide things very, very well. Like, I always seemed happy. Like, I always was the it girl. I always was the one everybody want to hang with Vonda. You know, me. But it's like, I got a baby. I had a baby. I was out here having sex. I'm like, man, this is y'all. I didn't know how to tell nobody. Like, I don't like her. Like, I don't like me. Like, y'all love me, but I don't like me. And I never could tell nobody that, because it's like everybody depended on having a good time at here over my house, at Vonda's house, because I was able to do everything kids couldn't do. Like, it was like a need from everybody else for me, that I put my feelings and everything about me to the side, and I catered to. You see what I'm saying? And it's like the drinking, like, I had to, you know, when I first started smoking and drinking, I wasn't even old enough to buy this stuff. You know, people would buy it. And it's like, I did it and act as if I could handle it. Like, I was such a good pretender. I mean, I used to get sick. I wouldn't show nobody I was sick, no nothing. It's like, I got to master this. I got to conquer it, because this going to make people know that I'm even more cooler.
Mm-hmm. They will demonstrate their hurt in different kinds of ways. And nobody was hurting. Nobody, I'm sure you church, nobody pulled you to the side and said, Vonda, what you going through? I'm seeing changes in you. I'm seeing the fruits of your labor, and they don't reflect who you are. It seems like from the tone of the book early on that you felt worthless. Why?
I did.
Mm-hmm. Why
I felt that way because it's like, I had my grandmother, like I said, she gave me the world pretty much. And that's my dad's mom. My dad thought so highly of me. Even my mom, like, I never wanted to hurt my mother, Annie Parrish. I never in a million years wanted to do anything to ever hurt that woman. Like, I would stay away, like you said, like, nobody like pulled me to the side. Where I stayed away from the churches, and, you know, I hit and miss. Like, I would go sometimes and you know, because I didn't really want to be around my mom. I didn't live with my mom. So I seen her when I wanted to, you know, after I got, you know, pregnant, she, you know, came and got my baby and stuff. But I knew how to separate what I had going on from my mother. Like, I didn't want her to see that, because I just knew I just felt, I mean, I hated myself, you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't look her in the face. And my mama loved me. I mean, she loved me unconditionally. She loved me through everything, would pray for me. If she chastised me, it was in a nice way. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So she might say, Vonda, you doing all right? And she might play with it, but I knew she was sincere. And I'd be like, yeah, Mom, I'm good. So I wouldn't have told her that I wasn't doing okay.
Right.
Sometimes I didn't want her to know that, you know.
To trust the people who you don't really believe love you. And I know your mom loved you. But
I know she did.
People that can't really connect with you and really say the thing that you need to hear in a manner that you're mature enough to receive, so you just write them off.
I actually, because I was such a loner, and like I said, the way that how I was raised, I wasn't raised like a normal child. Like I had so much leeway, so it won't like I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like everything I did because I could. You know what I'm saying? Like far as with the reality, like this whole book is pretty much a conversation even to myself, because I kept this whole book to myself. You see what I'm saying? When I hit Facebook, when reality hit me, I did that with myself, with Jesus Christ. Like that's how I know. Can't nobody tell me Jesus is not real, because he walked with me through this whole entire book. I'm talking about from growing up. When my mom introduced me to him, even though she thought I wasn't listening, he was my crutch. Like even though I might say, Jesus, you don't go with me today, I came back and I told him, man, I'd have messed up again. My reality was with me and Jesus. And now the world is getting to see this. It's like, I did all of this stuff because I had my own everything. I had my own house that I could have all my stuff in. And I had my own kids that I could say, be quiet. You know, I had my own husband that I could say, I mean, of course, we ain't saying taking nothing on the outside the house. Like, it just was the perfect setup for mess.
Wow.
And that's crazy because I could do it. Like, I could do anything I want to do, and I could come in my house and hide it.
What gave you the power to do that? Chapter, I think 7, 2000, you talked about a life event that changed the trajectory of your life. What happened?
That's when my father died in 2000. And I always felt like I know my dad loved me. Like my mother, like she never talked bad about my dad or anything. Like she put my dad actually on a pedestal, and I don't know the half that what she may have went through, but I loved that man wholeheartedly. Like I would turn my back on anybody when it came to my dad, and like it didn't matter to me. But we didn't have that relationship. You know, I grew, even though I knew that, I felt like that man hated my guts because what I turned into. Like he used to fuss, you know, him and my mom used to go through things, and he used to say stuff to her and about her to me. Like he would have tried to turn me against her, but it's like he compared me to her. It was like, oh, you gonna be this and you nothing. And everything he was saying, I was ended up turning into. Like he was speaking me into existence. You ain't gonna never be nothing. Tina, I was turning into nothing. You got a child, you ain't nothing but a whore. I was with a child and turning into a whore. Like everything it seemed like to me, my dad was speaking, I was becoming. But when I got pregnant with my daughter, it seemed like he had this attachment to me because I was pregnant, you know, but not me. And it's like, I always felt that it's still like a disconnect, but he was coming around more. He was checking on what the doctor said. It made me feel good because it's like, well, he's interested, but then again, it was only because it was about the baby, you know. So it's like and I'm leading up to the point where I was actually pregnant with India. Now I'm just kind of skipping through from my first daughter to up to my baby that I was carrying before he died. And it's like, I thought our relationship was getting ready to get better. I spent, you know, time in the hospital with him when he was in there. And it's like, the conversations wasn't too much, but it was perfect for me because I was right beside my dad. And I'm like, after he get out the hospital, I know we getting ready to, you know, we gonna start something after this. And honey, when that night I was getting ready to leave, and he called my name, and he gave me a kiss, and he told me he loved me. Tina, like that was the best feeling I've ever had, because my daddy don't say those words. I wasn't a child growing up in the house when my daddy came to me and said, I love you. Like actually said it. I said, I love you, Dad. He said, you too. That was his, I love you. But that day he told me he loved me. The words, I love you. I'm like, yes, you know, saying to myself, like, oh my God, my daddy gonna come back and we getting ready to start this life. And not knowing that was the end.
Wow.
Like, that was it.
The enemy comes and he'll use you as your own failure to cause you to fail. And then he'll bring the accessories, the family members, to whisper the confirmation to the thoughts that he's pouring into your mind. And so I believe that every affliction, he said, the Bible says, all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. And David in 119, and I read this yesterday, and it's just kept coming, said, it was good that I was afflicted. 119 Psalms. Go back and read it. That moment when you lost your father probably was the saddest time in your life and the worst thing that could ever happen for you, the you who you were back then. But it forced your hand. It forced you to grow up, and you became a woman that day. You became a woman when your father passed. That plate was broke.
Yeah.
You had to manage you, and you didn't have anybody else to blame for it. Tell us what happened after your father passed away. What life events began to occur?
Oh my God. I went from living in Midlothian Village, roach infested, with my two kids. And when I did have my daughter come to stay, and I had my son sometimes, and I was pregnant. And I went from that to owning 2 houses, 3 cars. I was, remind you, catching a cab to go see my dad. And after he passed, I woke up to, it's like night and day. I had nothing. And I woke up and I had everything. And it's like, that's when my life really started to, I'm really her now. I'm really gonna make it now. I'm really gonna get these kids everything I need to get these kids and more. You know what I'm saying? I'm really gonna show everybody now that the Zavonda y'all was talking about now behind the scenes. Is like, I'm really gonna show y'all now that, yeah, this world is mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you move on as you're navigating through being a parent yourself. Your last title is deep. Chapter 8. It's called The Beginning. And this book is volume 1. So I can't wait for volume 2. But your last chapter for the foreword, you titled it The Beginning. Why?
Because that's the beginning of me actually wanting to be what God created me to be. Like, I call it the beginning because everything in every chapter of your life, I know has a beginning. So it's like, even though people thought what they read was the beginning, it actually was, but now it's a new beginning of where Christ started really intervening in the public with my life. Like, that's what I needed him to do. Like, I was hiding him and praying and talking to him, but in that beginning, it's like people start seeing that, okay, Vonda praying a little bit more, but not knowing that Vonda was hiding so much stuff throughout from the growing up. Like, I wanted God to be the magician that I wanted him to be.
Wow.
And I wanted him to take that stuff and like bury it, because I used to hear the old folks say, God, and I used to always bring them things up. I used to say, well, he can throw it in the sea of forgetfulness. So I'm like, well, hey, God, you need to throw all of this stuff I did where you say, like I heard the people say, I never read it in the scripture, but I always remember people say he would throw it, he would get rid of it. So that's what I needed him to do. So I seeked him more. I did more of anything I needed to do towards God to get rid of. Like, I was seeking him to get rid of my past, and then maybe I could get a fresh start. Honey, the closer I got to God, the more harder things was getting. Like, stuff was starting to pop up a little bit. And I said, Lord, you were exposed. See, he was exposing me. And now I know what he was doing. It's like I was getting closer for him to hide, and he knew I was getting closer to expose.
Wow.
He good. He's a good God. And I thank God for that, because it's like, Tina, if I probably could have had this my way, this book wouldn't have existed at all. And I'm being real, being honest. Like, it would not be a book if I had this my way. I would not be trying to help people if I had this my way. But the more you seek, the more God reveals, the more he uncovers. It's like, it was good that you was afflicted. You're right. Because now you can help somebody else. Like my son ended up having a some kind of event at school. So it dawned on me, and this was in 2015. I said, oh, I got something he can wear. And he wrote his name, Bug number 1 on it. Number 5, I'm sorry. So he started wearing it then. Tina, I still had no clue why God even gave me this. So wow. I was juggling. I was trying to figure out. I was seeking God when I wanted to seek him. Like my life is really, truly a book. I was seeking him when I wanted to seek him, picking up the Bible when I wanted to, and hiding stuff the whole time. Just a pure deep mess. Well, in my seeking, in my maturity, as God saw me, wanting to actually be really more committed to him, he started showing me that I did not have a clue who I was. He gave me I am, because who am I? I had no clue. Like, he literally set me up for me. I used to go to church, and I'm not going to ramble on, like, you cut me off whenever you want me to stop. But I used to go to church, and I used to sit in church, and I only went to try to make somebody else not who they say that they are, because that helps me hide even more, wow. Behind what I was doing, because it's like, y'all ain't living right. You know what I'm saying? It's like I always had a judgmental kind of spirit, and I don't look at it as a bad way. It's like I always went to try to figure a thing out so I can come back and I could
justify your own self.
Justify myself. So it's like, in that, God was showing me like, okay, well, Vonda, you doing all of this. And like, he literally had been talking to me for years, and I used to beg him to speak, but I really wasn't listening. So I'm finding out like he'd been speaking to me for years, and it's like, Vonda, who are you? Like, who are you? Like, who are you? You only thing I could tell people was that, I'm Vonda. I'm her. You see the brain I got now. I'm her. I'm this big shot. Tina, I won't feel none of that. Like, actually, who am I? It was really when I started seeking the real word of Jesus Christ, and he had to show me all of who I wasn't. Like, I was terrible. I was the bad mom that people can only imagine being. You know what I'm saying? I was the drunk. I did, I experimented with drugs. I did a whole lot of things, but those were things I did. Those that's not who I was. So when it comes to this question, like, who am I? It's like God literally had to show me. And every morning I wake up, and I've getting myself to the point where now I go from day to day. It's who I am today. I don't rush it. You know what I'm saying? I don't rush it like I used to try to hurry up and just figure it all out so I can tell people. No, I really, I take this really, really serious, because I am somebody, and I am only somebody because of Jesus Christ.
And you figured out the path to healing. Yeah. You're just like people record videos and they show you how to fix phones and computers. Well, your testimony is showing others how to come to Jesus so he can fix you.
Right.
And so that shirt, I am, what does your shirt say? I
have her on it here now today. Her.
And that's a whole nother brand you have.
And that's all, yeah.
But I got the shirt when I saw you came out with it. I love the rubbery texture. I've worn the shirt several times, and I love it. I wear it out. People, when I came into this building today, people looked at me a second time. Whenever I'm wearing an inspirational shirt, people, they see you carry yourself differently, and it gives them hope. They even talk to you differently. They don't do certain things. I put the cigarettes away. See what I'm saying? So mine is, I am forgiven. The enemy can't hold anything in my past against me. Let it surface, because first of all, he does forget about it. So if he forgot about it, you forgot about it. If forgiveness is what you want, you got to receive it. And so I had forgiveness for myself. So while you were navigating through your healing, So are so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
Know how to humble yourself. And you're showing other people how to do the same thing with this book.
Mm-hmm.
Just confess your faults one to another. They ain't tell you your business to the wrong people.
Right.
But be open. Be open about who you are. Anyways, this has been a blessing. This has been awesome. Oh my God. I pray that you sell out every book. Every young teenage girl and boy needs to get a copy of this book. This needs to be in youth groups. I can see churches making bulk purchases of this book, because this right here, this is something that would cause deliverance to occur.
Thank you, Lord. I told the storm, even though your winds blow, I want you to know you cause me no alarm, 'cause I'm safe in his arms. Even though your rain falls, I can still make this call. Let there be peace. Now I can say, go away. I command you to move today. Because of faith, I have a brand new day. The sun will shine and I will be okay. That's what I told the storm. I told the storm to pass. Storm, you can't last. Go away. I command you to move today. Storm, when God speaks, the storm, it has to cease. That's what I told the storm.
Visit bookbaby.com and find I Am Because He Is, Volume 1 by Zavonda Vinson Parrish in the bookshop today.